fake it that oh man, I want to make buildings. Not like that. I thought, yeah, it's good. It's good. I can make buildings. I can make structures which will be there in the world for 100 years. So let's go. I joined civil engineering. Within 6 months, I realized I was a fool to think that I'll be able to make buildings that quickly. 6 months, I realized no, I'm not made for this. As of now, I understood civil engineering. I got everything, but no. I knew that I cannot make a building taller than Burj Khalifa. So why do it? So after 6 months, I realized there's something I've not done yet. I haven't explored my artistic side. I was not at all artistic. My handwriting was poor. Drawing, painting, everything was way away from me, and I was fat. So I thought, why not let's dance? Maybe I can sing. Let's do art. Over the next 1.5 years, I danced with dance works. You heard of? They have a batch in Beacon also. I became an instructor in Bluebells. I danced for 1.5 years. I learned modern, I learned jazz, I learned funk. I did everything which was possible. And side by side, kept clearing my exams at IIT. And then eventually what happened was, there was a concept that came across me. That was a concept of green buildings. So green building is a building that does not cause pollution even while constructing, even while demolition, and even while it's operational stage. So I thought it's a great concept. I thought of studying it more. So I was invited as a scholar to Nanyang Technological University. It's one of the top-notch universities in civil engineering in the world. It's like the 4th best, if I'm not wrong. So they invited me over. They said, come over. I went there. I knew I had to study on green buildings. Of course, I studied that. But what else I saw there changed my life. I saw students, native students of Singapore, like who were living in Singapore, all like this into their laptop, and I could not understand what the hell they are doing. I tried talking to them, but they were. So I met 1 or 2 people who talked to me, and then eventually I got to that all of them were actually the founders of one or the other startup. And I realized this is a cult kind of a startup culture that Singapore has managed to make. And when I understood what are they trying to do, out of 10 startups that I talked to, 8 were solving problems of their own country. How big of a city is Singapore? I would be surprised if it's bigger than Delhi. I don't think it's bigger than Delhi, it's smaller than Delhi. How big of a country it is? And 8 out of 10 startups working for the problems of their country. And I thought, what have I done? They were students, I was a student. I was doing a research scholarship there, and they were solving the problems of their own country. I realized I need to do the same. Why shouldn't I be doing that? I know IIT has not been a very glamorous patch of my life, but I did understand that government has invested money into me. It's the tax money that your parents have paid that has gone into me to make me study at IIT Delhi. Okay, so I realized I owe a lot to this country at least, if not IIT. So I thought of doing a startup, and I went into a stealth for the next 4 months. When I came back in November of 2013 was when I came back from school. Okay, so I went into stealth for 4 months. I was gathering knowledge regarding what? Regarding the world. I didn't know how this world functions. I didn't know the banking system. I didn't know how governments work. I didn't know about the world wars. I didn't know about how India got independent entirely. I didn't know about it. So these were the things which were missing blocks of history that I never knew. I didn't know how. Do you guys know how bitcoins work? You should be knowing that, because bitcoins is something which I'm telling you right now, and remember this for your life. It's a system that will replace the banking very soon. It will replace the banking, and we don't know about it. Why should we know about it? You read this file on it, definitely know about what's upcoming and what's going to go. That's how you step into the right thing. You end up opening a e-commerce website, and all will go very soon. Heard of Jemom? What happened to Jemom? $1.2 billion in valuation 6 months ago. Today 600 million, no one ready to buy. The bubble has started to burst, my friends. So step by thinking. Okay, so these are the things I started figuring out those blocks of my life which were missing. I started seeing a lot of documentaries which enlightened some parts of the brain. Let's do something. That's how it started. I always wanted to become a programmer, so I became one. Let's start something. So he called 3 of his more friends. There were 5 people. I knew them earlier also. 5 people sitting under a tree, so let's do something. Let's do something in our life. Job is not something which is it's a piece of like, cup of art. It's not a we can't do. Not able to understand. It's not a wrong thing to do a job, but some people just not made it. It's not a proud thing to say. It's not a bad thing to say. It's just a choice that I've made. I'm not made for jobs. I thought of doing a startup. Okay, so are you getting bored? Like I can straight away jump to your 4 topics if you want. No, okay. It's good. So I started with a startup, and guess what I thought? I thought, man, this world needs education. I have seen in Singapore that every place has a Wi-Fi. Why does my country not have Wi-Fi everywhere? I need to put Wi-Fi everywhere. I need to make sure that everyone has a free access to internet, and they will do something. Have you heard of this company called NIIT? Have you heard of their founder? You know, okay, let's say there's this revolutionary guy called Peter H. Diamandis. Read about him because he is out of this world. This great guy who's written a book called Abundance. I'm very influenced by that book. Okay, so that was a story I came across. I thought, why not? Like everyone maybe can learn if you provide Wi-Fi to everyone. So we had this concept that we'll place Wi-Fi routers everywhere. And what's the most basic revenue model that you guys have learned in your life with the product? Ad revenue. We'll make ad revenue. We'll push ads and we'll earn revenue. I was preparing for 3 months for this meeting, 1 month for the pitch to happen. I pitched there and the guys just flew out. Everything 1 to 2 seconds, everything was over. Why? Why it happened? Because I didn't know what is required to work with government. Government requires tenders to be put for anything that they install, anything that they buy, anything that they allow. For a tender to come out, you have to be a 5-year-old company, at least a 5-year-old company. You have to be earning profit since past 3 years, and blah, 100 or more things you had to need. And guess how much time it took me to drop the idea? It took me less than those 2 seconds. It took me 1 second. I said, I'm not going to do this. I can't do this. Like, I can't wait for 5 years for this Wi-Fi thing to work. What I did then. So there were 4 ideas in front of me. One of them was what I am doing right now. The other 3 were rejected. Guess why? No. Feasibility analysis requires time. We didn't take time to reject the ideas. Why? Do you use Ola? Any of you use Ola? What has Ola done to you? If you go to a new city, you don't need to spend your time booking a cab with some hotel guy, or you don't need to spend time renting a car. Nothing. You just order an Ola. So what it has done is it has saved your time, and it's selling back to you by charging more per kilometer. That's what they're doing. Anyone can do this. The basic foundation is save someone's time and sell it back. They've done that, anyone can earn money. But the impact that was being created, I thought there was much more in this product. So how this product came about was that I was living in America with my younger brother back in July 2014. That was the time I dropped the idea of Wi-Fi. And I was traveling back to IIT to attend my lab class, which was very urgent. So I was heading back and I talked to a local resident there saying, dude, don't you think this place is, I was obviously talking in Hindi. So I said, don't you think this place is so shady and not safe for women? So he said, of course it is, brother, because the Nirbhaya case happened from the very same bus stop where you were standing and you don't know about it. I was like this, the way I am right now. So I went into the flashback of 2012 in December when I was myself doing this at India Gate. And I realized, what did I do for my country? Nothing. I went to Singapore to do internship. I never did anything about it. So I went back to my team of 4 people. I am like building a 5.4 others. So I went up to them and told them, can we work on this? This is the only thing I asked. I didn't have a solution. I said, can we work on this? Yeah, let's work on this. It's as simple as that. You have a problem, you take it up and then you think of a solution. You don't think of a solution, then think, what's the problem that I'm going to solve? That's not how it works. It has to be a problem first and then a solution. That's how it was for us. We took up the challenge that, okay, let's do this. Let's solve this problem of women's safety in Delhi. Mind it, Delhi. Not India, not world. Now what happens? To take the first step, what do you need in a company? You need money. You need money. And if it's hardware, you are dead. You don't have money. Where do I get money from? I don't come from a very rich background. I don't come from a very rich background. I can't ask for money from them. And obviously, if I'm putting my money in an idea which has come 2 days ago, how can I expect that money to come back? I asked my dad, can you put in some money which you think is waste for you? He said, nothing is waste for me. I have earned it. That's what happened in the other 5 homes also. So we had no money to start with. That's what we did. We turned up to interns. I was not a coder. Okay, none of my family is a coder. And having successful business does not mean if you go to that idea of business plan competition, you will fail. That's not how it works in the real life. You might think of it other way around, but that's not how it works. Not as my short experience, at least that's not how it works. Because I just had an idea and we became the world champions in Mba Guest Lecture in Dubai 2015. How? No one knows. There was this player that came across to me and said, do you want to apply to this competition if you have an innovative idea? I said, idea. Pretty good idea. I'll tell you what's my idea. I wrote this in 500 words, the most beautiful words that I could write in to, impress the idea. This idea has got power, man. It's going to change the face of India. And I believed in that. It's not like I faked. I knew that my idea is going to work and it will definitely drop down a lot of statistics that exist, which haven't changed since quite some time. I believed in it. I didn't know when it will happen, but I believed that it will happen. And my belief was reflected in just those 500 words, which were good enough to call a team from India for the first time in GITEX Technology Week Dubai. It's a very big exhibition. If you don't have trust GITEX.com, open it. I will be there in the winners. You have to win a competition. You have to make the most beautiful thing. You have to do it for market. You have to do it in the quickest way possible. You have to just go to the market. That's your MVP thing, which we have to still talk about. Okay, so I took the call. Let's make it for market only. If it's ready for market, it might work in competition. As simple as that. For competition, I knew that I have to glam up the team. We need to be up there on the toes. There will be team from those developed countries like USA, Ukraine. You know, with this background, forward background, people will come, probably will come with a pretty product. And I will blow, I will glam up the things. So I said, one side works on the market ready product, one side works on glamming up everything. But the glamming up side had a problem. There was no money here. Here, we took some help from the labs. We borrowed some development boards from one of our friends or someone who had 2,500 kind of things. We put in our own money, 10, 15,000 we had put in our own money, and we started developing this market. This side, the glam side was weak still. Like, there was no graphic design, there was no product design. Okay. So there were only 2 useless people in the team. One was, and other was this guy who was working with me in IIT, who dropped out from school. Probably this tells something. People who drop out school turn out to be useless later. But it's okay. We 2 were useless in the team, so we thought, let's save money here, let's learn graphic design. So I thought, I'll learn graphic design. What big deal is. If anyone can do a Photoshop, I have seen people doing Photoshop in 6,000 rupees a month with the company. So I don't think the skill set would be that much. Both of us had this artistic side from that. So we knew what's right and what's wrong. And I literally learned Photoshop in 3 days. Like the basic I knew how to do Photoshop in 3 days. I had learned it. He had learned Blender. There's a software called Blender. He had learned that in 3 days also. We worked for 1 month and the glamour was already there. It was there. Now what does this tell you about a startup? There are things which are needed. There are things which you do not want to do ever in your life, but you have to do for it to work. Because look at the return on investment. It's 5 lakh rupees coming back. And if I calculate my effort, then let's say it's that time it was 100 rupees an hour. Or was I? 100 rupees an hour. Even if I was spending 6, 7, 8 hours a day, I was spending 800 rupees a day. Not in the product, but the people standing there. People noticed us. We impressed them. We got attention. This is something we did. Okay. Very cheap. So this is 4,000. Contact me if you know. 4,000 bucks. So, then good in this field, working well. So we did that. We went there, as I told you, we won. We never gave anyone a chance. It was based on voting. We were 5 people, all of them were 3 because they had not invested, bringing 2 members along. We had paid for the 2 members from our own pocket because we know we were going on that 5 lakh and it's going to come back. In 1 day, we We were Asia champions of Eureka 2014. If you've heard of that competition, we were the champions there. We won that in the social category, 1 lakh rupees from there. And there was this rip-off of a TV show called Shark Tank. Have you heard of Shark Tank? Rajan's Den. It's a thing like, you know, 3-4 really cool millionaires are sitting and a startup guy comes, pitches, and they're like, oh yeah, I'll put in $100,000 into you and I'll take 50% of the equity. Such cruel shows. So it was a rip-off of that. 7-8 investors from Mumbai Indians were sitting there. Said, pitch it to us. Pitched it. We had 600 seconds to pitch. We pitched it. They asked Q&A, and they invested in us because that time we had. Because of those 7.25 lakhs that we have gathered from the idea or so the product this time, what is the investment of these 10 lakhs? Okay. Now this 10 lakhs is not fundraising, is another topic. Fundraising takes 3 months minimum to after the it has happened. What to do for next 3 months? I have to again get money into the company. And then I did something. I said, competitions are not over yet. There's an annual loop. The annual loop wasn't over yet. The competition will start leaking in. So Ericsson Innovation Awards again. I applied again. We won that. Even the stupidest of the ideas get listed. It's just the idea is to get as many points as possible, to make the list as long as possible. The idea is not to find the best solution of the best problem that can be solved. The idea is to just list down things. That's the only motive of a brainstorming session. Never ever say but in a brainstorming session. Say yes and add to it. You know, there's this notion. If I tell, I just saw an elephant standing behind this door. If you said no, that's not possible. You know, you have killed the fun right now. If you would get in the conversation, yeah, you know, MIT has a lot of elephants. One is standing up, so what? And the other one says, yeah, when I was coming, I stepped in the shit that he had done. So this is something which makes the conversation interesting. You don't butt in a brainstorming session. You're not eligible enough to do that. You're not superior than other person sitting in the brainstorming session. So, you know, so I'll give you a short demo of how a brainstorming session happens. Do you have a pen or something in your hand? Even if you don't have a, just forget it. We have too many people in this room. I just want you to think of a problem that you have faced since this morning, when you came, from morning when you left from your home to the time you are sitting here. Just think of one problem that you have faced in the day. Any one problem. What's the problem that you faced? Jam mila. Problem.
Transportation from the metro station.
Metro station से यहाँ आने का problem. छोटा रास्ता था, time ज़्यादा लगा. Problem.
Completing a project that has a deadline today.
So you have to go work for it. What's the problem that you
You
get?
have to take out the printout of the
Sorry?
same project. You have to take out the printout of the same project.
Wow.
So the printout.
Anyone without the project?
Had this photocopy problem at the photocopy shop out over there. He's not willing to get the registered photocopy for the notes and all. It's a problem you need to go out.
These are problems. Just every one of you must have thought of a problem right now. Okay? How many people are sitting in this room? 4, 5, I guess 40 people are sitting in this room. You have 40 problems to work on. You can make 40 new startups right now sitting here. How dare you say, no, your idea is not going to work. If I had come to you 5 years ago and said, let me do this one thing, I'll make an app, and whenever I click on right now, a cab will come and pick me up. You know, you would call me, you would grow up. The taxi business is mafia. उसका एक ठेकेदार होता है, उसके नीचे बहुत सारे लोग होते हैं. वो तो कभी मीटर से ही नहीं चलते हैं. उनका क्या है, वो तो बदतमीज़ होते हैं, गाली दे देते हैं. एयरपोर्ट पे ही होती है टैक्सी सिटी में कहाँ होती है बाहर? नहीं होती यार. So you would come up with these things, but you see a startup gaining a valuation of $5 billion there, doing the same business which you would have just rejected 5 years ago. So no problem is a small problem. Every small problem can become a startup. You have 40 new potential startups sitting in this room, and you are listening to me. Why? Why you been listening to me? Go work on that. So that was the idea. But when you are getting into the idea generation process, just make sure you want to make a startup. At least get sure about that. You want to do something about yourself. Think of that. Make sure there are 3 to 5 people in that room. Sit in a circle. Don't sit like this, the way you're sitting. You cannot see the person who just said that she wants to get the photocopy done. And the contacts are very important. So sit around a round table and do this simple drill. What's the problem that you faced since this morning? List down those ideas. List down, you'll have plenty of them. Just say, I want 5 ideas no matter what happens in next 2 minutes from each one of you. Someone will write any stupid thing, but it will be a problem in the end. You'll have 50 to 20 things to look at least, even if you have 4 people sitting in that room. You'll look at those problems and just try and understand if you guys find a common connection. You know, this transportation thing I'm really worried about. It took me 1.5 hours to come from my office till here. It was sad. Why am I traveling 1.5 hours in a day? That's probably the amount of this. It's gonna take me to go back now. I'm spending 3 hours. It's a big problem. If you guys agree on it, fix that problem. Just put it up in the wall and say, I'm gonna solve this. Have you heard of a Kanban flow kind of thing? Do you know what's a Kanban? Then you think of a solution. And to think of a solution, that's the first time you have to go out and talk to people. You have to talk to people. That's the last step of the idea generation process, and that's the most critical step. Because idea generation is a process which will never end. It will just give you a transition to the next stage, which is MVP development. If I come up to you and say, I'm going to make this smart jewelry, which if you double press, it's going to send alert to the location to your friends and family. Do you think it works for you? How much are you going to pay for it? How much are you going to pay for it? Yeah, how much can you pay for this smart jewelry? It will send the alert with the location to your friends and family, even when there is no internet. So it's going to send through SMS also. That's what it can do, and you can be live tracked. Okay, that's how simple the product is. That's how neat the product is. This is what I had when we started developing the MVP. So what did I have? What did I need to do? I just need to do something like I push a button here and something pops up. That's all I need to do. That's my MVP. If I push something here, something happens here. What can I do? What's my MVP? I'll tell you what I did. There was this box, okay, in which there was a mobile phone, which had a already typed message that I am in danger at this location, save me please. And I covered it with something. I placed a button on this, okay. But just that, if I push that button, the send button will be pressed, which is lying inside the box. I pressed that, and a message popped up. So that was my MVP. People understood what I was trying to do. Got a message that I am in danger. This is the visual that people need to remember you. This is the visual that people need to understand. That's why we are different from everyone, because we can think, we can visualize. When I did that, that person could imagine that, yeah, this can become a pendant that I normally wear. Probably it can. If this bloody iPhone can be made, then anything can be made. Probably I'll get the same thing in my pendant. If I press this thing will happen. Oh, it's damn amazing. What's the problem? I'm at nothing right now. It's 0 plus something, definitely. Someone will get to know if I'm in danger. They can track me, perfect, no worries. Even if they can't come, they'll tell someone to come. The proposition was right, and I showcased how it's gonna work. That was my MVP. That's how I started. That's all you need. How much money did it take? Nothing. A piece of cardboard and a button, nothing else. That's what it took. 5 hours, $5. If you're going to spend more than that, you're doing it wrong. Trust me. Not studied anywhere. What I think. It was a good summary, but 5 minutes, 5 hours, $5. That's all you need to make an MVP. Ideally, that would be the perfect MVP. Okay. Let's talk about these things. I have to talk about Ola. How would Ola give a MVP? Similar thing you can do, no? It's the same thing. A button press and a Ola comes. As simple as that. A button is pressed. No, not a button. Mobile phone. The guy sends a send button. and it reaches a guy who's like me, who's sitting in a car, and that guy comes driving that car. Probably they share the location on WhatsApp. Best thing. Share the location on WhatsApp. He's gonna come. Done thing. That's MVP. I don't know what they did, but if I was the if I was Bhavesh, I would do this to show the MVP to the investor that it will work. And look at the user experience. I gave it to investor. I said, just push this button. Just push this button. No matter how much work I have done before this, I've typed that message. I've opened WhatsApp. I've added contacts. So what? I just said, push this button. Cab will come. If it doesn't come, don't invest in it. That's what I did. He got the idea of what the user experience is going to be like. That's how he will feel. He felt like a consumer that time. And that's when he decided that he's going to invest in that company. Same must have happened with Uber in Silicon Valley, obviously. Right? So, housing. How would housing do it? Simple. One click on a desktop and a dealer calls you back. It is as simple as that. And it would make the page beautiful, saying, Abhi, if you look at Magic Bricks and other real estate websites, how bad they look. Like, even when will ever a consumer like me use it? Will you use an ugly hotel to rent a room? Why? The differentiator with housing, it's well designed. I think it's well designed, that's why it works. That's MVP. It's good enough to judge if it's going to work or not. Lastly, Flipkart. Again, very simple. Send a message and get the thing delivered. Send the message to a kiryane wala or the book guy and tell him to deliver a book. You're done. Completely done. That's all you need to do. $5, spend it and done. Get over it. It's very simple. No complication whatsoever. Okay. Good enough. Can we move to the next thing? It's biggie. Marketing, sales, funding. There are a lot of things in this. That's why I'm going to talk about. First thing first, in marketing, why at an early stage, why do you even need to market your product? You know why? Because to get that significant amount of users who will see your MVP, you need marketing. You need to tell people that you're doing something. At least come and watch my MVP. Please come and watch my MVP. This is what I do. This is what marketing means in early stage startups. You are like this. Please. Just see my idea. Just listen to my idea and tell me if I'm convincing enough or not. This is marketing. This is marketing. So that's how it works. And it's the rule of tech world. If you are becoming a tech company, anything to do, if you have anything to do with a thing that can make a sound or has current running into it, or you're doing something on the smartphone, do not dare to write a single line of code before asking people if they need it or not. Need it or not? If say it's housing platform, okay, I just make a landing page saying I'm gonna do this is my idea, this is my video of MVP. If you are interested into this, just drop in your email idea. That's all you need to do. And you broadcast this link to your WhatsApp contacts, you put it on your Facebook page. Just use the network you have. Such a network works. Just use the network you have and do this. And see, are people signing up? Are people asking you questions? Yes, people asked me questions when I told them about this. They said, is it going to work on SMS? Is it going to work when there is no cellular network? I said no. They said okay. But there was engagement. People were asking me questions that meant it caught a mind share of theirs. That's the role of marketing. You just need to ask people, you just let people know that I'm going to work on something. And the other thing that you can do, being an early stage startup without a product or in the product development stage, you can share your achievements. I always shared my achievements. I know this guy, he's done something, must be doing something good. Already believe in you, they don't even know about the idea, they believe in you and they're receptive to your idea. Then one day when you write a blog, this is what I'm doing, people listen to. This is what you can do as a marketer in an early stage. I've done all this. That's what I'm telling you. And it's awesome according to me. I was the one who was graphic designing. I was the one who was content writing. I was the one who was writing pictures. I was the one who was delivering speeches at these business plan competitions. I was the one who was refining the whole business model by reading books. Every communication was my job. That's the job of marketing in an early stage startup. You have to do this. Get people to reorder. Get people to visualize the idea. I had this website of mine in place 6 months before I was even delivering the first product. But I had the website ready. You know what I did? I took a foreign model and I photoshopped my necklace onto it. That's what I did. I couldn't pay for a photography session. Of course I couldn't. So I did that. I learned how to do that, and I made the website. This is what you have to do as a marketer. You have to handle everything that it takes to put the idea, the startup, and the founder itself on the forefront. People connect to faces. What is Virgin Atlantic? It's Richard Branson, nothing else. What is Apple? It is Steve Jobs. People need a face to relate to things. Right? You need faces. Okay. So, I think that's what the job of marketer is, to visualize. If my pitch is weak, they won't think it's worth 3,500. If my pitch is strong, you will say this is 3,500. Because your pricing is only dependent on one thing in this world. It's your ability to sell. It's not dependent on your product. Shockingly, that's the harsh truth of this world. If a Rolex can sell a watch for 1 CR, but no watch in this world is made for 1 CR. Everyone knows that. And it's not the best tech company that it can make the best watches, which give the least time lag, which no one cares about actually. Do you care about your watch lagging 1 second in 1,000 years? And that's what it markets itself on. It's his ability to sell. It's his ability to invest into marketing. It's their ability to make experience centers which make you feel good about yourself, that if you wear this rich thing, people are going to think you are rich. That's their ability to sell, and they're selling it. My ability right now, I'll be very honest, is to sell this for just 3,500. It's not out of my ability to sell it for more than 3,500. You know, get in Jordan Belfort, he'll sell it for 1 lakh because he can sell it. I cannot.